Welcome to Hannity Tonight. Buckle up. We have a ton of breaking news to cover, including shocking new video from New York City, where again the violence tonight is erupting and the police budget, get this, is getting slashed by a whopping $1 billion. That is not good news for New York City. One elderly woman was even violently assaulted in broad daylight in Seattle. Look at these images from the Daily Mail. Our very own Dan Springer and his crew, they were assaulted, they were harassed, they were stalked by, the Summer of Love Zone protesters in the Chaz Zone. He will exclusively tell us, thankfully his crew is safe. He'll tell us everything that happened, and he will tell it here first in an exclusive interview and report coming up. We'll also hear from Eric Trump tonight, Senator Graham tonight, Mark Cuban tonight, and Governor Noem on the Mount Rushmore event that is coming this weekend. First, we have major news developments to report for the very first time in 89 days. Wow. He came out of the bunker. He came out of the basement. The week the ever-confused Joe Biden actually emerged and actually answered a few, well, as my friend Leo Terrell said on radio today, lollipop interviews from the media mob. And as you can imagine, it was pretty hard to watch. The digressions, the stammering, the confusion, all on display. And Biden, you could just feel the tension. He was like hanging by a thread the entire time. If you're on his staff, you know what to think. Please, just another minute or two and we'll pull you off the stage. Now, you could tell he was trying so hard, but the struggle is real. Take a look.
The Defense Production Act, critical for the delivery of supplies that were basically needed.
Can you tell us what you would do to Putin if this is true and in general for what's happened in the past?
I can, but I will not, but I will tell him. Where's the Wilmington, the Delaware State News? Delaware News Journal, I should say. That's my hometown team. It's fundamentally different than pulling down the statue or going into the Lincoln Memorial and trying to pull, not Lincoln Memorial. That's a bad example. The Jefferson Memorial and grabbing Jefferson off his chair.
Now, it took to the end under the presser when, yes, Fox News' own Doug McElway asked a tough but important question, and Biden first referred, this was very weird, to Doug as a lying dog face. It just like he spurted that out of nowhere and then gave this incredibly, well, let's just say strange answer. Watch for yourself.
Last question real quick. Some have speculated, sir, that you are subject to some degree of cognitive decline. I'm 65. I don't have word recollection that I used to have. I forget my train of thought from time to time. You got 12 years on me, sir. Have you been tested for some degree of cognitive decline?
I've been tested and I'm constantly tested. Look, all I got to do is watch me, and I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against. Okay,
let me get this straight. He's constantly being tested for cognitive abilities? Why is Joe Biden getting constantly tested for a cognitive decline? Now, after hearing that, I'm wondering if maybe all Americans need cognitive testing regularly. That concerns me. Does that concern the American people? Is anyone in the mob and the media, are they going to ask the ever-forgetful, weak Joe Biden why he's being constantly tested for cognitive decline? Because aside from that one question from Fox News, Biden was given, well, as Leo Terrell was saying all day, the lollipop question treatment, the white glove treatment from members of the mob. It was, by the way, almost as if they were trying to protect him, as they have for 89 straight days. Many of the questions surrounding mask wearing and whether or not he had been tested for COVID-19. Now, of course, everyone that is around him, and he admitted all this today, including all of his handlers, Secret Service, his family, they all get tested regularly. And frankly, I think they should. He's a presidential candidate, former vice president. As for the masks, well, I've been saying this forever. Personally, I was at the epicenter of all of this from the very beginning. I don't have a problem wearing masks. You know why? Because I love grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads, and they're the most vulnerable, and I wouldn't want to live with myself if I happened to get it and passed it on to people that may potentially die from this. And also, I'm going to be very selfish about it. If I have to wear a mask to go to a baseball game or an outdoor concert or a football game in the NFL or college, and that's the only way I can get to see the game, it would work. And by the way, I know, at least on one little measure that we have anecdotally, I've said it so many times on the show, once, twice a week, I went to my local grocery store. I saw the same people. I even put one of the guys stocking the shelves that I saw every week. I put them on my radio show. The same cashiers. I actually like to fast check out myself, but I saw the same people. And thank God I would ask every week. Nobody contracted COVID because they all wore masks. So for me, anecdotally, it works. The other thing is we got to remember, this is only temporary. Our scientists are going to get us through all of this and probably sooner rather than later. But now Biden, everyone around him is tested. He's using the mask as a wedge issue, a political issue, and using that as a way to attack President Trump. By the way, he wasn't wearing his mask when he was at his, first press conference in 89 days. And again, I'll reiterate, everyone around the president must and is tested. The same for Joe Biden. So Joe's mask wearing is purely symbolic. He was against the travel ban. That's not symbolic. That was the one he said was xenophobic and hysterical and fear-mongering, because that decision by Donald Trump 10 days after the first identified case of corona in America, that saved probably hundreds of thousands of Americans from contracting the disease and tens of thousands of others from dying. And for the left, everything is political, especially 126 days before an election where you will be the ultimate jury. It always is symbolism over substance. The mob and the media, they didn't press Biden about the politicizing of mask wearing. They didn't ask him about the violence, the lawlessness erupting in America's cities. They didn't ask Biden about the murder epidemic in Chicago. They didn't ask about why didn't he and Barack, why did they ignore their entire 8 years in office, all of that violence, all of those shootings, all of that death, all of those innocent victims from the city of Chicago, Barack's hometown, for 8 years while they were in charge? They didn't ask him about the violence in the Summer of Love Zone, Spaghetti Potluck Dinner Zone, the Chaz Chop Zone. They didn't ask about the insane defund the police movement that's going on in the country. They didn't ask Weak Joe about his enthusiastic adoration for the former Klansman, Robert KKK Byrd. They didn't ask the ever-forgetful Joe about his comments about, his words, the racial jungle, or his words, predators in our street speech. They didn't ask Forgetful Joe about his past support for segregationists. They didn't ask Joe about his involvement in the Flynn probe. They didn't ask why he promoted the Logan Act to try and trap Donald Trump. They certainly didn't ask, and why he lied about it. They didn't ask him why his son, zero-experience Hunter, got a sweetheart, $1.5 billion deal with the Bank of China, no experience that we can find, right after stepping off Air Force Two on his trip to Asia and China. They didn't ask about Burisma, his lack of experience with Ukraine or energy and the millions he made there. They didn't ask why he's supporting the new Green Deal or Ocasio-Cortez advising his campaign. And by the way, I could go on, but we only have an hour. Now, predictably, the mob, they were gentle, they were kind. They gave him, the special treatment that he doesn't deserve. They didn't interrupt him. They didn't shout their questions. They didn't fight. They didn't try and grandstand. They lobbed one softball question after another. And for reference, let's take a look at a side-by-side comparison between the treatment of President Trump versus the treatment of the ever-weak, forgetful Joe 30330. Take a look.
I wonder, where do you think the race stands at this moment? What keeps you up at night as you look ahead? And can you maintain this advantage without campaigning in a traditional way?
Today, the U.S. hit a grim milestone of 1 million cases of the coronavirus. Back in late February, you predicted that the number of cases would go down to 0. How did we get from your prediction of 0 to 1 million?
Do you believe that if those reports are true, that Trump is guilty of violating his oath of office?
Black unemployment went up by 0.1%. Asian American unemployment went up by 0.5%. How is that a victory?
You are something.
If elected, how are you going to get Americans on the same page?
Wow. Sadly, but predictable at this point. And get this, during this first presser in 89 days, well, the ever-forgetful, weak Joe Biden actually admitted that he had a list of preferred reporters that he was supposed to call on. Now, what's interesting to me about this is I've never seen Donald Trump ever do that. Never, ever. I've never seen any president ever do this, or presidential candidate. Very interesting. Makes me think, makes me ponder, makes me wonder. Take a look.
I'm happy to take questions if you have them. He gave me a list of how to recognize. Is Alex AP out there? Yes. I'm sorry. Who was I supposed to go to next? Anybody? I got to make sure I get the Wilmington newspaper here before I leave here. I'll be dead.
I don't know, Joe, if you're supposed to say that out loud. Probably best kept secret. Probably your staff, well, might have told you, but you probably forgot. Let me state the obvious once again. With the exception of a few outlets, few reporters, Rush, Mark, Laura Ingraham, a few of us on Fox, the mob in the media is almost entirely in the tank for Joe Biden. 99% are hacks. Journalism has been dead and buried since 2007. Now, we were pretty much almost exclusively the only ones to talk about Barack Obama, Acorn, who Frank Marshall Davis was, the Church of GD America, Ayers and Dorn, and community organizing. And all in all, we asked the tough questions. And what was black liberation theology, for example? The fake journalists, New York Toilet Paper Times, and the rest of them, they were busy asking Obama, well, questions like this. Take a look.
During these first 100 days, what has surprised you the most about this office, enchanted you the most about serving in this office, humbled you the most, and troubled you the most?
Now, let me write this down.
Surprised, troubled.
I've got, what was the first one?
Surprised.
Surprised.
Troubled.
Troubled.
Enchanted.
Enchanted, nice.
And humbled.
And what was the last one? Humbled?
Humbled. Thank you, sir.
Enchanting. Once again, we'll take it on this show. We'll do the job they will never do. We will vet honestly the presumptive Democratic nominee. The American people deserve that. Make no mistake, the next 126 days, we will bring you everything you need to know about what is at stake for your kids and your grandkids if, in fact, he and the radical extreme socialists ever take power, because it won't be pretty. I have a book coming out in 35 days, Live Free or Die, America and the World on the Brink. That's not hyperbole. In Latin, I put in live free or America dies. They want to take us down the failed road of socialism, and their agenda is the most radical ever proposed in the history of this country. It will make America unrecognizable. That's how bad it'll be. That's why your vote is going to matter, especially in Florida, Ohio, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, New Hampshire, and Maine's 2nd Congressional District. We will leave no stone unturned. We will expose every scandal. We'll ask every important question. We'll do their job. That is our pledge. That is our job to you, the American people. We were pretty much alone on the deep state as well. We were right there. They were all wrong. And by the way, the future of this country is at stake.